Yeah, I think the thing I'm most excited about is like the personal tutoring angle, right? So I think a lot of students don't feel comfortable asking questions in class, like they're shy, they don't want to speak up, they feel intimidated by the teacher or something like that. So, having a private tutor that they can kind of chat with, go to ChatGPT and ask some questions there, I think is going to be a huge unlock for a lot of students who don't feel comfortable asking questions in class.
For things like reading comprehension, to help students with their reading fluency, they can work with an application that will give them immediate feedback. And that's great for a lot of teachers, especially in the junior school, that in a typical time frame, they can only do so much.
The other thing that's interesting is, as a teacher with limited time, and we always say we don't have enough time, what are the tools that can help me be more efficient? And it seems so simple, but like one of the tools that people, myself included, seem most interested in is like a rubric creator. Like, it's such a simple thing to just say, make me a rubric, but it takes so much time as a teacher to create it that it's just like, okay, great, I can outsource that, I can check it, I can make the changes.
I think the thing I'm most excited about is the skills we're gonna get to teach to our students. We've always kind of had this role as an educator in the class, and I think in the past it's been the smartest person in the room or the person with all the answers, and now we're more of like a guide to help students understand how to navigate this ever-changing space, and at the same time support them in their thinking and teach them collaborative skills and critical thinking skills that are so important in this age where they need to be able to discern what they're getting out of any of these applications.
In that way, we are educating for the future of people who are meeting artificial intelligence with integrity, with an ethical lens, with responsibility, and in that way we are preparing our students for the future.
In my session this morning, somebody was mentioning about being a history teacher, and my background is in humanities, and so they were talking about using prompt generation, like teaching that skill of prompt generation as kind of a transferable skill to understand how to ask a good question. So in history you're going to write essays, and so the object won't necessarily be to use ChatGPT to help you with your essays, but it's to help you ask a good question, and so getting the question right is such a transferable thing to understand how to do.
Yeah, I think one of the main things at the grade 5 level is they're wondering, what is AI, right? So they're wondering, is AI everything I do on a computer? Is it just generative text? Is it just ChatGPT? And then they say things like, how is AI going to change how I do high school? That's one of the questions that we get very often. And just thinking that in 7 years they'll be in grade 12, that I'm sure the space will look very different by that point.
Yeah, like the biggest problem is that you can never trace where information has come from. So if the model gives you some information or an answer to a question and you're like, oh, where did you get that information? Most of the time that linkage is not direct. It won't give you the proper link to, oh, I consumed this article and repackaged it and served you up this answer, because sometimes these answers are just emergent in the technology itself. So we don't have a great understanding of how to drill back down to these models to understand where the results are coming from. So this can create a lot of confusion and misdirection and just incorrect information potentially. So one of the things we really encourage is just really critical thinking skills. And every time you're getting a prompt or an answer out of these systems, think critically about it and just make sure you verify any information that's presented to you.
Some things that it's led me to thinking about is, as somebody who teaches younger students, that so many of the things that we considered risks and challenges are actually just skills I can teach younger students who aren't even using AI yet. I can teach them about bias, I can teach them about critical thinking, I can teach them about writing good questions, and those are all things that are important for students to know even before they're technically old enough to be using these tools. And I kind of feel like AI is forcing our hand on that.
I really want the students to be able to train the data. I want them to learn how to do that. Just because I think it's just going to be such an important skill for them going forward.
These systems are only as knowledgeable as their databases are. So thinking about how we introduce that to students with this bias involved in the knowledge that they're getting was really important. And also just talking to other teachers about what they're doing and how their administration feels about AI and the policies that we're all starting to create was interesting and important as well.
I am an AI optimist for sure, so I really believe that what we'll be able to do with these tools will be pretty incredible in terms of creativity, in terms of improving our writing, in terms of taking kids much further because they have tools that can do some of the grunt work that now tools can do, so they can go even further in their thinking. So I am definitely an optimist on that front.
I think it's a really exciting time in education to rethink teaching and learning and the possibilities that we have with tools like AI. I think getting together on a day like this with so many different educators is really powerful and has a big impact on just rethinking how we implement technology and how we empower students to use a tool like AI.